Hello, this is a introductional video for the VAW regarding building your in-ring persona, and I'm going to walk you through coming up and creating a persona for the wrestling fed. Okay, so what is an in-ring gimmick? Well, it's a series of things that basically build your character. You can either be a heel or a face. The heel is the bad guy and the face is the good guy. Now, a heel would be considered to do negative things, and their job is to make the fans cheer for the face, to make the face look better, and the face's job is to take a bit of a beating and to have some nasty stuff done to him and essentially put his career on the line and win and conquer everything. You've got to create this kind of story. There is people who kind of a mixture of both, but I tend to let the fans decide. So I normally don't decide if I'm going to be a heel or a face. I just decide what kind of character I'm going to be, and then I go on with that. Obviously your costume's going to come into play, so if you're going for a heel kind of character or a bad kind of character, you want to wear sort of darker colours and kind of keep that kind of darker sort of theme. If you're a face, you want to make your costume a little bit more exciting, a little bit brighter, a little bit more attractive and appealing. Your attitude obviously adjusts to what kind of character you are. You wouldn't see a face raking someone's eyes, and again the actions are the same thing. Voice acting is another part that we're gonna come into. Okay, so what's the right gimmick for me? Okay, the first thing involves your voice. If you're going to do voice acting, and if you're going to come in and you want to play a really big guy and you've got a really squeaky voice, or your voice doesn't fit the character, it's not going to work. So you have to understand that you have to be a character that's you can kind of create in your mind when you hear your voice. Your wrestling style, if you're going to be a high flyer or a powerhouse or a technical wrestler, you're not going to see, very rarely you're going to see a high flyer who's like 9 foot and 3,000 pounds. He's like a big massive avalanche character. So you need to create your character look depending on what you're going to be, fast and nippy, technical or such. And again, use your skills to kind of create. If you're very good at the power stuff but you're not so good at high flying, don't go high flying just because it won't work for you. Unless you want to push yourself and you want to put that time in, there's no point. So make sure that whatever you're going to do, you're good at it, or you want to be good at it. Okay, examples of a bad gimmick. Okay, so bad costume. If you've got a really newbie costume and you haven't spent any money on it and it looks really bad, people are going to pick that up and it doesn't work. Just spend a little bit of money on it. You can get custom stuff, you can get all kinds of things on X Street for free, and Second Life Market now for free. So there's no real excuse. Bad gimmicks. If you come up with something like Banana Man or something, it's not going to work. So always talk with the trainers and talk with the bookers about creating your gimmick and see if they think it works for you. They're not there to shoot your ideas down. They're there to work with you on your ideas to create something that you agree on and they agree on. So do get that feedback. No progression. What I mean by that is if you create a character that has nowhere to go, so for example they are just a big bouncer that beats people up, there's nowhere to take that character. You want to kind of start with a lot of empty space. So you'd say, okay, my character is a wrestler who's from the south, and he has let's say native Indian background or something like that. And that's my character, and then what you do with that is up to you. What I've put here, Lyndon Cost. Be prepared to spend some money on your avatar. There's only you who are going to be using it, and all the fans are going to be looking at you. And if you spend money for wrestling moves and you spend money on your avatar, it benefits you. If you don't spend it, you're going to look silly to the people who do spend it. So that's just my advice. Okay, good voice acting versus bad ones. I would play the videos, but I don't think they'll play the sound. So at the time, 123 Kid, who became X-Pac, wasn't that great when he started. Whereas Dunk the Clown was a really good voice actor, but he wasn't that great a wrestler. So there's two kind of swings and roundabouts here. You've got somebody who's a good wrestler, but wasn't great at gimmicks and promos on voice. And there's somebody who was really good at promos, but wasn't that great at the wrestling. And both of them did well, because they were good at one. Now your goal is to be good at both. So, in-ring ability, having no gimmick. Okay, so some characters can get away with having a very poor gimmick if they've got really good in-ring ability. So if you're a high flyer doing loads of flying and stuff, and your gimmick's really mundane and plain, you can get away with it. So the only time you'd think of doing this would be maybe if you were a quiet character, like Kane doesn't talk much, and things like that. You'd want to make sure that your in-ring ability was really good. And if you don't use voice, you've got to remember that your emotes and things during the match can affect stuff, and also pre-written script cards and things like that. So if you're using no voice whatsoever, make sure that you write your stuff down so you can copy and paste it in, because the person who reads it out won't have any idea of emphasis you want to put on things. So it's always best to chat to one of the commentary that's going to be reading out and say, can you read it angrily for me, or could you read it mysteriously for me? And they will do that for you to create your voice, even though it's not your voice saying it. Okay, so good voice actors, watch any of Goldberg's promos or any of The Rock's promos. I'm sure you already have, but if you haven't, these two were great. He didn't yell, Goldust didn't yell, he didn't shout, he just talked subtly, and it made you feel uneasy and dirty, and it was horrible, and he just had a way with it, a lot like Jake the Snake Roberts. The Rock has lots of charisma, and he can just get a crowd straight away. That's why he was the people's champ. And he's a totally different style. But if you want to watch good promos, these two are the guys to watch. There's many other wrestlers out there that do it, but these two are the ones I'd advise for different angles. Cutting a good promo. Okay, so if you're going to cut a good promo, you want to keep this in mind. Whenever you're doing a promo, you want to bullet point these 6 things down, and then use that to write the promo. So, for example, what happened would be what happened previously. Who did it, or who is the promo for? So that's whoever your opponent is at the time. Where did it happen? So it could be at a free per-view, it could have been last match, it could have been 2 weeks ago, it could have been anything. What are you going to do about it? So that's what you're going to do about what's already happened. What will that achieve? As in, when you've done it, will you get the belt, or will it open up a title shot for you, or what will happen? Where and when will that happen? That's the most important one. You need to tell the fans where it's going to happen and when it's going to happen. So I will do you a very brief promo right now, off the cuff, without writing it down or anything, so I apologise if it's not great, following these things. So I would say, I'm not going to do any voices or anything, I'm just going to read it out normally. I would say, so last week, at Turbulence, I was jumped by Big Red. And I didn't like it. I'm not a fan. He runs his mouth, and he thinks he can jump people. Do you know what I'm going to do? Tonight, at the main event, I'm going to put my boot so far down his throat, there ain't going to be no beer going in there. There ain't going to be anything going in there. He's just going to be sleeping forever. Okay? So something like that, dead easy. But I've covered all of this. I've said what's going to happen. So I'm going to have a match tonight. Or what happened was he attacked me. So I told him they jumped me. He who the promo is for. I mentioned his name, Big Red. I said it happened last week, or I can't remember what I said now, but I mentioned when it happened. I've told him what I'm going to do about it. I'm having a match. And I said, how will I achieve that? Basically, I'm going to put my boot in his face. And where I'm going to do it? Right now, at the main event. And I covered everything. So if you're writing a promo, that's the way you do it. You write it like that, and then all you have to do is put emphasis in your words. My best advice for you is, if you're cutting a promo, it's to be yourself and not rush. I see so many wrestlers rushing and getting stuck. So they go, last week on SummerSlam, I had this fight and I fought with you, and you're going down. You're going down at the end of tonight. You're going down. And what happens is they stutter and it doesn't work. Relax and space your words out. Last week, yeah, I'm talking to you. Last week at Turbulence, you come out. You think you're all that? You think you can beat me? You can't beat me. And you know what? Tonight, at the main event, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what the VAW champion does to people who crosses him. You think you can stand in the ring with me? You think you can go around running your mouth, saying you're the best of the best? Well, you're about to find out something. Oh yeah, you're going to find out something. You're going to find out that the best of the best, well, that's me. Okay, so that's putting a bit of emphasis on it. The same kind of thing. Okay, let's carry on. So let's have an overview of everything. It's important that you do your look. It's important that you practice. So your ability is great. I would prefer you to do voice acting. If you're unable to do voice acting, then you can emote. You don't have to only emote in the doing promos. You can also emote in the ring. If someone's got you in a headlock, you should be going, oh, my head, and you can shout that out. There's so many people who are just quiet in the ring. You don't need to do that. You need to be able to write an in-ring story with your character. You need to always stick to your attitude of your character. Never change your attitude unless you're changing the direction of your character. Make sure there's room for progression of your character. Make sure it isn't just, I'm a big Hulk and that's all I can do. Make sure that there's room to upgrade your character, for your character to learn stuff, to change, to develop. You don't want to be everything you've ever dreamed straight away, because then there's nothing to go to. The last one, number 8, is so important. Crowd connection. When the crowd is yelling at you, when the crowd's getting in your face, react to it. If you're on promo and you're saying, last week on Turbulence, he jumped me. Oh yeah, he jumped me. And I was nearly concussed. I was nearly knocked out. And then somebody in the crowd turns around and shouts at you, yeah, he's going to think. Say, yes, you've got it. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to take him down for all my fans here. And react to them. And that's everything that I've got for you, really. If you've got any questions, you can contact me in World. And my name in Second Life is Matlock1Beat. And you can get me on there. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy your time in Second Life, and I hope you enjoy your time in the VAW.